Whereas Delaware County is rich with culture and we are blessed with talented artists and performers who contribute to the artistic and cultural fabric of our community, and whereas the Delaware County Arts Consortium, formed in 2009, includes representatives from over 60 Delaware County arts organizations and strives to advance the economic vitality of the arts community and promote the value of Delaware County's cultural resources to the local community and beyond. And whereas the arts and culture organizations in Delaware County contribute over $64 million and provide over 918 full-time jobs to the local Delaware County economy. And whereas the members of the Delco County Arts Consortium will hold their 5th annual Delco Arts Week from September 30th to October 8th, 2023 to showcase the arts in Delaware County and engage and introduce community members and visitors to the many artistic venues and experiences that Delaware County has to offer. And whereas Delco Arts Week will feature more than 75 different performers, exhibits, workshops, concerts, tours, and other events taking place in 50 venues throughout Delaware County, including Concord Township's own annual Fall Into the Arts Festival on Saturday, October 7th, in partnership with Darlington Arts Center. Now, therefore, the Council of Concord Township does hereby proclaim September 30th to October 8th, 2023, to be Delco Arts Week and encourages Concord Township residents to enjoy and explore the events planned to showcase the artistic talents in Delaware County. Mr. President, I so move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Vanita, I think you have the First Responders Day proclamation.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. This is the First Responders Day's recognition. Whereas per Act 87 of 2021, the Pennsylvania General Assembly and Governor Wolf designated September 27th of each year as First Responders Day in Pennsylvania. And whereas our first responders, who are police, fire, emergency medical services, and public health personnel, work selflessly on behalf of the people of this Commonwealth, regardless of the risk or hazard, and truly are citizens serving the community. And whereas first responders carry out the critical role of protecting and ensuring public safety in emergency situations. And whereas first responders make personal sacrifices to protect our communities, as witnessed in the aftermath of the terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001, the COVID-19 pandemic, and during natural disasters. They are called every day to protect individuals and property in cities and towns across this Commonwealth. And whereas thousands of first responders have made the ultimate sacrifice, now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of Concord Township does hereby proclaim September 27th as First Responders Day and recognizes the dedicated professionalism showed by these men and women every day. Mr. President, may I seek motion for this?
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Upcoming meetings and events for the month, September 7th is the Park and Rec Board meeting. September 13th, the Historical Commission meeting. This Saturday, September 9th, Concord Township Community Day and fireworks display over at Smithers Road Park. It begins at 4 p.m. and goes till dusk. September 18th, Planning Commission meeting. September 20th, Zoning Hearing Board meeting. September 26th, Council meeting.
Thank you again, Mr. President. Good evening, everybody. Based on the Fire Marshal's report for the month of August 2023, we had a total of 222 calls for ambulance services this month, of which 75 were for basic life support ambulance and 147 were for the advanced life support ambulances. There were 5 fire incidents with 2 structures related, 1 vehicle related, and 2 other incidents. There were 8 motor vehicle accident related incidents. There were 24 fire code inspections that were completed. Thank you to our fire department for completing the inspections. On August 28th, we were also notified by our Pennsylvania State Police of the incident that occurred on August 23rd. The notification stated that on August 23rd at approximately 1600 hours, which is 4 o'clock, Pennsylvania State Police was contacted by Delaware State Police, who indicated that they were pursuing a vehicle towards the Pennsylvania state line on Route 202 North. PSP was informed the operator of the fleeing vehicle, identified as a vehicle from Wilmington, Delaware, and had multiple warrants and struck a Delaware State Police vehicle in a pursuit a week ago. Prior to the state line, Delaware State Police lost sight of the vehicle and terminated the pursuit. Delaware State Police then canvassed the area into Pennsylvania and located the vehicle crashed and unoccupied on Naaman's Creek Road in Concord Township. PSP arrived and assisted with searching for the subject along with 2 Delaware State Police K-9s and their helicopter. After a search of the surrounding area, the subject was unable to be located. They are continuing investigating the hit-and-run crash. Also, as an update to the progress on Concord Township's safety initiative for the license plate cameras, we are awaiting updates from the LPR camera company and will update you when additional information is available. Safety tips for this month are back to the school tips. Students are back to school now. Many students take the school bus to go to school. Students are exposed to traffic while waiting for buses or walking to the bus stop or school. All motor vehicle drivers are reminded to be cautious and alert when approaching a school bus stop and to stop for pedestrians in crosswalks. In addition to watching for school buses, vehicle drivers are required to be on alert in school zones and slow down to the posted speed limit of 15 miles in school zones. Look for the pedestrians and bikers, and teen driver parents should practice with their new drivers every week before and after they get their license. Set a good example, drive the way you want your teen to drive. Please drive safely and always keep our children safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Open space, trails, and recreation. Mr. Cross.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have had come to the conclusion of a busy summer of events with Parks and Recreation. We had over 250 folks come out to dinner and a movie in Township Park, which the dinner was served by Fava, and so very successful, followed up by an even more successful event of the Grease Band concert in the park with over 350 people in attendance. We've been doing work on our trails. The First State Connector Trail Feasibility Committee has explored several route options to connect from the Township Park over to the First State National Park, and they will be meeting again this fall to determine the most suitable option. Work continues on the Beaver Valley Neighborhood Park on Beaver Valley Road. We will be presenting plans shortly to the community, and the Bush Hill Farm Master Plan is in its final phase, and we will have a presentation at an upcoming public meeting. There are improvements underway for Concord Township Park on Smithbridge Road, and details about all of these plans and park improvements will be available at our table at Concord Community Day next Saturday. In addition, some additional events coming up this month. Lyle Crocodile, he has been elusive this summer with the rain, but we believe he will be spotted in the Township Park movie night on Friday, September 15th. And we are doing a bird watch and nature walk on the Coleman Trail over there at the old Christmas tree farm there behind the high school on Saturday, 9/23. And again, just to highlight our recent proclamation as a bird town here in Pennsylvania. And finally, we have Delco Greenways grants are in the acceptance phase right now, and we are discussing some opportunities for Concord Township to apply. Lastly, I'd like to recognize that Roberta Johnson is the new director of the Darlington Arts Center, and she is joined tonight by Emily Moylan, the assistant director. And so I wanted to just call them up to the podium here to introduce themselves, and so that I can present the certificate for Delco Arts Week. Thank you.
Love the accessibility.
Welcome to Concord Township.
Thank you.
You know what, can we just do a real quick picture, John? You can hand it to them.
Should we stand around it?
You guys all want to stand around? Let's go.
Yeah, we'll stand here. No, we can do it right here.
Oh,
You
you'll
guys
stand right
here.
there?
We'll stand behind you because John and I got Dana, you get shots.
No pictures. You don't need to describe it. Stand up. You're good. Stand up straight.
Perfect, thank you.
Put your seat out. Well, thank you. This was a welcome that I did not expect.
One thing I want to point out,
yes.
don't expect this every month.
Oh. Oh. Disappointed, okay. No. But no, I appreciate this, and we are super excited, and wow, thank you so much. And we're excited for Delco Art Week to start. We're also excited for the Art and Park to kick off in our partnership with Concord Township. So thank you. This was amazing, and I did not prepare a speech, so thanks.
They're the best kind. Welcome, and we look forward to working with you on many projects. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, folks.
Okay. Sewer and Public Works, Mr. Gillespie.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. The sewer operations report. During Monday night, August 7th, we experienced thunderstorms overnight, which caused most of the pump stations and both plants to run on generator power until Tuesday night. The sewer department assisted the Public Works group during cleanup of the storm on Tuesday due to the extensive damage and road closures. And during the storm, it was discovered that the main electric supply needed possible repair or upgrade. So the electrical engineer will assess this need and get back to us. And with regard to capital projects update, Concord Road North project continues. Most of the sewer force mains are installed, as well as the home connections, and work is underway on the water main installation. And regarding Public Works, the 2023 road program has been completed. The initial payment will be on the docket for approval at tonight's meeting. And also, just want to give a shout out to the Public Works and Sewer Department guys for the outstanding job on the cleanup of the roads and township properties with scattered debris for the August the 7th storm. End of report.
Okay, Building and Code Enforcement, Colleen is not here, but her report will be made part of the record. Planning Commission, Larry.
Yes, thank you. Activities for August, the Planning Commission agenda meeting was held on August 14th, 2023, and the public meeting was held on August 21st. The Planning Commission recommended approval of the following projects during their August 21st public meeting: the BVG Associates LP, Joseph Anthony Salon parking lot submission, Route 202 Project LLC, Carmen Auto Group, amended plans dated 7/28/2023, both of which are on our agenda for later tonight. The Planning Commission will also issue comments on the conditional use application for terrain located at 914 Baltimore Pike with outdoor dining. Scheduled for next month, the agenda meeting will be held on September 11th, and the public meeting will be held on September 18th. That's it for Planning Commission.
New developments and/or activity with respect to ongoing litigation, and no new suits have been filed. Thank you.
Sure. The only thing I have that's not on the agenda, hasn't been covered already, is we did get all the data collection done for the intersection of Shavertown Road and John Beale Drive. So we hope to have some recommendations, some suggestions for the October meeting.
Yes, I have a couple items that I'll be brief about. Number one, apparently we have two library board members for Concord Township that have hit their term limits according to the library's bylaws. You see Mary Alice right there. Hi, Mary Alice. So that is Mary Alice and Randy Eman. And we will be posting information on social and soliciting resumes for any resident that's interested in fulfilling a board appointment to work with the library. So the term on that is 3 years, and then there's a limit of 9 years, 3 terms of 3 years for that position. Information will be posted on our website and social this week, and I'll get that over to council for discussion at a later time, and appointments. Additionally, I wanted to let folks know, so we had, last week at our meeting, we had a budget idea exchange. We had some folks show up and provide ideas. I just wanted to extend that out because I know it's a busy time of year for all, but if any resident has anything ever idea-wise about future discussion, I'm happy for you to email me and discuss that with council as part of our budget. We also have public hearings that happen in November, but I'm happy to entertain that at any time if anyone has any idea outside, and young or more of our more seniored members of the public. I welcome ideas. Additionally, Smithbridge Road Bridge update. Nate, I know you didn't cover that. We just had a call this past week. I will thank you to Representative Williams, who has been working and pushing PennDOT and other agencies in getting that bridge taken care of as quickly as humanly possible. Outside of some permitting and things, we got emergency clearance by the Secretary of PennDOT recently, and they hope that we could potentially, albeit there's some right-of-way still being obtained through a court process, but that and DEP approvals, you could see construction beginning in the fall, so later fall, let's say. But we're hopeful, and Representative Williams has been arranging weekly meetings to keep this needle moving. So we are very grateful for that to happen. So I just want to bring that up. And then finally, our fire marshal has added, I want to remind folks, on September 16th, there'll be an additional burn day that Saturday as a result of storm debris cleanup that folks are still dealing with from the last storm we had. So I just wanted to point that out. That program starts in October, and there'll be a day on September 16th with allowance for burning of any debris related to storm, and according to the ordinance and rules, obviously, of what can be burned, which is, shrubs and things like that. So natural materials. And that's all I have.
Dave Cleary, 72 Schoolhouse Lane. And on the first responders mentioned, and I left the flyer with you this weekend, the Travis Manion Foundation is doing a 9/11 Heroes Run that's focused on folks that died that day serving or have died in service. And Dana or Vanita, I think, may have the flyer I left at last week's meeting. Come out, there's a 1-mile walk, 5K run, or just come out to support the event. The last 2 years, Ryan Manion, the head of Travis Manion Foundation and sister of Travis, has been at the event. She speaks very eloquently. And 2 years ago, she was on Fox News and CNN the day before the event and interviewed about 9/11, and then shows up at the little local event. A nice opportunity. On the school bus safety stuff, one of the clauses in there that we want to make sure we emphasize too, as people are confused, a child that's alighted from a school bus, the vehicles aren't supposed to start moving until they know the child is safe also. It's kind of a little clause in there, and it's common sense. Don't start driving your car even though the bus turned out its lights and left. Something happened yesterday on Schoolhouse Lane. A tree fell across the road, and I'm not sure what I'm suggesting is, because the only contact I know of is the state police, and maybe the township needs to give the state police a holiday weekend contact so that you can help facilitate.
They have it, and we took care of the tree, actually.
Yeah.
So it was tied up in wires. Pico was, it was all handled last night, and this morning at 5 a.m., Dan Moyer came in, Public Works Director,
And said it was
and
done.
took care of it.
I'm sure 2 cones, I put 2 cones out in the road to try to get people to drive, and somebody picked them up. The other suggestion with that, I've seen with Thornbury Township recently, they go out and put out road closed barricades so somebody like me doesn't end up losing our cones, putting them out there to block the road. But at the intersection of Glenview and Schoolhouse, put cones because people kept driving up there and having to U-turn, especially as it got dark, and there was no imminent time frame. Just something to think about, those road closed barriers that Thornbury Township use. You probably should put those out in those instances. And one other thing on the Pico side, there's still a wire over by Brothers Pizza, right by the Dunkin' Donuts there. You'll see it when you drive home. You see those orange cones. If there's some way you can inspire Pico, whoever's supposed to either hang or bury those wires, the cones are there so they don't get mowed over. I actually borrowed a couple of those cones to work with traffic the night of the storm there because they were just sitting there, and replaced them. But I noticed either you're going to bury or fix the wire, but you can't leave it there for a month.
Utility pole on Baltimore Pike, you're right.
You'll see them when you drive home.
You can see them. You can ride, go down the pole, and then they follow the grass line. And then at the side of the transformer, at the entrance off of Cheney Road, they cut a little hole in the bottom of the transformer, and they run the wires into there. So instead of being fed underground through pipe, it looks like they just fed it above ground with cable. So maybe we want to get Bob Vasic out there, because that should be underground and replaced underground. And it seems like it's been there awful long time for temporary repair.
I know it was there at least from the night of the storm, because I swiped some of their cones momentarily.
All right, well, we'll look into that, but I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, those kind of things, somebody needs to kind of poke them. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Mary Alice Peeling, 722 Concord Road, outgoing Concord rep on the library board.
And were you there all 9 years?
Yes, I was. Yeah. What board should a librarian be on other than the library board? I just want to mention that the construction should be starting, I think, this week on the expansion of the library into the, I guess I'll call it the former township space.
Great.
The other side. All the permits have been issued, and so we're really excited about it.
And what is the use of that part of the building going to be again? Refresh
children's.
my memory?
They're going to move the children's part of the library over to that side, and then they can expand adult services and some area for things like,
I remember doing the sketches when they put out the children's library for bid, the wall
right.
in there. So, and that was carved out of the main library, so
Right.
it's good. That
So-
space will
and
now be
that
back.
space where there's a wall, they're going to try to have some like tutoring spaces and things
Good.
in there, so.
Good.
Yeah,
Progress.
we're really
Glad
looking
we could
forward
help.
to it.
And thank you
Thanks.
for your years there.
Oh, no problem.
Okay. Yes. What was that noise coming out of your head?
Gene Goebel, 7 Quaker Lane. Some comments on the trailers on the Target parking lot. I'm counting 50 of them, 38 in the front, 12 in the back. The permit for the ones in the front, as far as I can tell, expired in the middle of June. Ones in the back never had a permit, and per the code for that zoning, are not supposed to be there. Also, the 2023 fee service ordinance you folks passed, it's not really crystal clear. It says $350 for trailers for 6 months, which is what was paid for, $350. In my mind, it should be each. I don't know if you folks, when you pass this, had a thought. Did it mean an unlimited number of trailers or one trailer? Like for tents, it says, explicitly says each tent residents can, pay $100 for one tent for 3 days. For the trailers, it just says trailers $350 for 6 months. So we have a multi-billion-dollar corporation paying less than $1 per month per trailer to store merchandise past the days of the permit. It seems unreasonable to me. I would suggest you rethink the 2024 fee schedule to perhaps put a limit to the number of trailers And if you really want to only collect $350 total for who knows how long.
Thank you.
And could you have the permit reissued and the trailers in the back addressed?
We will check with the code enforcement officer as to the status of that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, moving on to the business items. The consent agenda, there are 6 items. First one is to approve the council public meeting minutes of July 25th and August 1st, 2023. Dana, we paid some bills that month. Would you like to handle them, please?
Sure. Total expenditures is $1,213,894.77. That consists of August payroll of $173,475.47. Current bills totaling $839,579.17. Sewer bills totaling $200,840.13. Our expenditures are a little bit high this month because we have later down the road program payment, Concord North Water Extension, and the traffic signal battery backups. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Gillespie, you're going to handle C, certificate of payments, and D, financial releases, correct?
Yes, sir. First being McKinney Construction, release number 3 of $172,412.53, which consists of $168,297.73 for water and $4,114.80 for sewer. And Innovative Construction Services payment number 1 in the amount of $384,654.52. And we have some financial releases for the Temple Road developers, release number 9 in the amount of $76,235.47. This is also known as Waterford at Garnet Valley, and also Tuttle at 366 and 364 Cheney Road, a sewer release number 2 in the amount of $1,616.25.
Okay, we also have the authorization to advertise the following bids. As an ARPA project, the deceleration lane on Baltimore Pike for the Schoolhouse Lane project. The barn restoration projects for Bush Hill Farms, the 2 barns. That is not an ARPA project. Accept as applications for review. Concord Country Club preliminary final subdivision land development plan, land development plan for the golf cart barn. Elam Church preliminary final subdivision plan. Extra space storage, Namens Creek Road preliminary final land development plan. Do we have a motion to approve all the items under the consent agenda?
I so moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, Nate, I just read something about Schoolhouse Lane and Baltimore Pike, so what is the update?
The update is we are going out to bid. So we will have bids received, assuming we get bids in and they're acceptable, for council's October meeting. The advertisement dates are going to be September 14th and September 18th, and we will open those on September 29th. We did get the signature we needed from the one adjacent resident, so we were able to resubmit the PennDOT. We were in the queue for hopefully permit issuance, but we have some contingencies in place if we don't get that permit to handle it that way, but we are good to go at this point.
Okay,
Just a question on that, Nate. Is that in accordance with PennDOT bidding documents, or is that the township bidding documents?
In this case, this would be a township bidding it out, not PennDOT.
Okay, thank you.
But we have to follow PennDOT rules and regulations regarding the approval, traffic control, things of that nature.
okay.
Okay.
We had a meeting we mentioned earlier regarding the ARPA projects, and we came up with a list of items that we wanted to approve that put on there. And council has decided that just as we had done with the Schoolhouse Lane project, each month we'd like to get an update on those projects so none of them get orphaned along the way. So Amanda, do you have anything, or Nate, how do we want to handle this?
Sure, we can,
One thing, I think we could probably now, if my colleagues agree, fold the Schoolhouse Lane into this one heading for future reference, because it is an ARPA project?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah.
Go ahead, guys.
So I just wanted to point out, so tonight you just approved one of those ARPA projects, which is why we'll combine that into one agenda item. And additionally, we had a recent finance meeting with Nate to talk about the projects that you just approved at the last meeting and a time frame, and I'll turn it to him to let him elaborate where needed.
Yeah, so we kind of have a team here at the township we're going to work with on a regular basis just to keep us on track. So we kind of had a kickoff meeting here in August, just to kind of brainstorm schedules, permits, needs, what information we have, what information we don't have. So probably the three biggest pieces of information out of that meeting: one, schoolhouse, we just talked about it. Two, the next up project is going to be Concord Woods. Big picture, what we're looking at is probably winter, spring construction over there. So we're going to get into that project here, the kind of this fall, early winter for winter, spring construction. So that'll be next one up. One clarification I want to add with Concord Woods, there was a misconception that the township was taking on obligations of the HOA. That's actually not the case. In this case, this is all township-owned infrastructure. So we are not touching HOA-owned basins or things of that nature. This is township storm sewer network that's been confirmed to be township-owned, and those are things that are in need of repair over there. The other item would be Newland Way, the township property on Newland Way, where we're going to do a basin retrofit. We have completed the field survey of that site to get the ball rolling over there as well. So I will have regular updates at the monthly meeting and hopefully good tidbits each month to move these projects along.
Okay, I'm just speaking for myself, but I don't know, for me, if we had some sort of grid or some
Sure.
sort of Excel sheet,
Love it.
perhaps listing the project, the scope, the budget, and the certain milestones, estimated completion dates. I don't know if anybody else wants to
Bill's
chime in on
already
whatever would be helpful for them in order to
Yes.
keep track of this.
Yes,
Dominic, Bill's already working on that.
I would like to find out when the next meeting is of that group, because I would like to sit in on those subsequent meetings to have a council president presence. So I would be able to report at the meeting or support Nate as he gives his report as to the progress of these projects. I just want to make sure that they're moving expeditiously. So do we have a date for the next meeting?
No, we just had our initial meeting literally about 2 weeks ago or a week ago. So we'll get a date scheduled, and I will keep you in the loop.
Thank you.
But I do think council's support of having Schoolhouse Lane as an agenda item every month made sure that it did not get lost in the shuffle. So I think we got to keep that up again.
I, for one, will say it keeps me honest when I know I've got to bring some sort of update every month that keeps me moving the ball forward. So I appreciate it as well.
As someone who sends us a bill, I don't know if they keep me honest is not what I want to hear. But anyway, but that's where we are.
But in line with that, Mr. President, I would perhaps, again, if council agrees, ask the manager. I know that we have a number of major projects, not just ARPA projects, but major projects that we have on the docket that if we could, perhaps just put them all in the spreadsheet. Not that we need to, reference them at the meetings, but we have some trail projects like Octorara and things like that that have been going on for years.
Well, I think that's a great idea, but I think we ought to keep the ARPA separate because there's a deadline to spend that money.
Yep.
We have a lot of that internally anyway, so
Okay,
it's
got
easy
it.
to throw
All
together.
right, sounds good. All right, Wegmans request for conditional use amendment hearing for the liquor license.
Yes.
If you want to bring us up to speed, I think they are requesting extended hours from those that were approved in 2015. Am I correct? And what can you tell us about that?
That is correct. So previously, council had permitted Wegmans to provide for the sale of beer and wine, and presently they are permitted Monday through Thursday to sell those products from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Oh, wait a minute, I think that's the pub hours. The beer sales are number 5. The pub is no longer there.
I know it's not. We're talking both, they're going to try to sell both, I believe.
Well, the pub is no longer in operation.
I know, but that's what the resolution says. But if the letter that they wrote us back on March the 27th of 2023 suggests, and they say, the pub, which is distinctly separate from the rest of the grocery store and where Wegmans sells beer and wine primarily for takeout to its customers, the Wegmans has operated supermarket in Concord Township with alcohol sales since 2016. So I think their view is there's really no distinction between their sales of beer and wine from the store proper as opposed to the pub. They're trying to say it's a cafe, which is an extension of the pub. But let me finish, and then we'll have a further discussion. So presently, their hours are 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., Monday through Thursday.
It doesn't say that on the sheet that Amanda gave us. It says 8 a.m.
Yeah, let me finish.
No.
Let me finish. And
Okay.
then 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, all right? They would like to change their present hours as follows. And John, whether it's 8 or 11, but they want to change from 7 a.m. to 12 o'clock midnight, Monday through Saturday, and 9 a.m. to midnight on Sunday. So that's the change they're requesting, and they're suggesting to you that the reasons they should be allowed to do this is as follows. One, they're going to continue to employ all the procedures and conditions as previously indicated, except for the hours. Second, that Wegmans strives to offer its loyal customers the same amenities across the board, and they suggest that they feel that those people who do not hold a traditional day job are a disadvantage to purchase these types of products. I think that argument is a little weak, to say the least. And then lastly, and most importantly, they indicate that they have a perfect record with respect to the sale of alcohol, and there have been no violations with the LCB. And we applaud them for that, but that's what we expect all of our establishments to do. So, tonight, all you need to do this evening is as follows. Either one, you can agree to, you can turn down their request, and that would end the inquiry. If you believe you want to entertain the prospect of letting them expand their hours, then you're going to have to set up a conditional use hearing, because you're going to have to amend the parameters of the previous conditional use resolution. So if you decided you don't want to entertain it, that would end the inquiry. If you decide you want to either consider it or you may want to do it, then you're going to have to set a date for a conditional use hearing. That's the
Okay,
purpose for
okay.
tonight.
To understand it better, I need information here. I have a spreadsheet that Amanda prepared, and under Wegmans, she has Sunday to Thursday, 8 a.m. What do they want to start Sunday to Thursday at what time?
That's what's there now.
Do you want me to read it? Do you want me to explain it, John?
Explain it, go ahead.
Okay, so currently, their hours of sales are 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., Sunday through Thursday.
Correct.
On Fridays and Saturdays, they're allowed 8 a.m. to 11 p.m.
And what do they want?
They are looking to have their sales more in line with their hours of operation. So they are asking for extended hours of 7 a.m. to midnight, Monday through Saturday, and 9 a.m. to midnight on Sundays. However, wine would be done on Sundays at 11 p.m. I know on your spreadsheet it says a.m., but it's p.m. And then beer would be 11 to midnight on Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody else in the township has midnight. None of our other alcohol providers. They go as late as 10. Acme goes to 10. Whole Foods goes to 10, and Wawa goes to 11. And they're asking for 12, midnight. Is that correct?
They're asking for midnight as a shut-off time for evening sales, with the exception of Sunday. It sounds like they'll go to 11, but
only
for
for
argument's sake, only for wine. But for argument's sake, it is midnight, let's say.
And their store hours, according to Google, are 6 a.m. to midnight, 7 days a week. So it appears that they are only interested, the alignment is more with the closing of the store than the opening of the store.
I think, John, you bring up a good point, Mr. Gillespie, that it's inconsistent with what we've done everywhere else. And in fact, it's somewhat generous, with the exception of Wawa, which is 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. And perhaps this precedent might, Wawa's open 24/7. I would hate to think what they might want to do.
Well, the question in my mind is, do we want to make all of these businesses the same time, or do we want to be flexible? That's what I'm considering.
Or do we just leave everything the way it is and deny the request?
Correct. Okay.
What's everybody else think? Go ahead.
To my understanding, to remain consistent with all the businesses together, we can certainly extend it to 11 p.m., but that's about it. There has to be some consistency, and
You mean the Sunday
They-
through Thursday to 11?
right, the alcohol sales need to remain same hours for all businesses.
It doesn't look like we're consistent now, though. I mean, when you go up, we're either 8 or 9, and either 10 or 11.
Yeah, but-
Up and down. And Acme, I'm seeing Acme's, their store hours are 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. So they're cutting off an hour or two at the beginning and the end of their day. and
But
not opening.
I think the irony of the whole thing is that these hours that are on this sheet were requested by the applicants. We didn't come up with them. And, I mean, they're asking us to change them. We don't have to change them, as Mr. Donahue said. If we do change them, we should probably have another hearing. Because if we are going to have a hearing on the resolution from 2015, it mentions pub hours and beer sales hours. That should be cleaned up to just be one thing for the takeout sales only and one if it's served on premises. Because I always remember when this came in, the pub was when they had the restaurant. And you could go down, sit a meal, and get served a drink. And the other was for takeout. But that should be cleaned up also because the pub is no longer in existence. But there again, another suggestion, and I'd like to, if somebody would make a motion, just leave everything the way it is.
I just have one other comment. So if we would change Wegmans to whatever we change it to, and I'm the owner of Acme, and I'm at 10 p.m., and I want to now go to 11 p.m. because my store closes at 11 p.m., what do I do? How does Acme request to go to 11 p.m. from 10 p.m.?
John, you're correct. Most likely, Acme could very well make the argument, why am I being punished, so to speak? Why am I being singled out? So if you're going to entertain a hearing, you might as well make them all consistent. But right now, you've held them, you've decided each one on an individual basis. And you also got, there's other factors involved. I mean, you got public safety considerations, you've got those issues. I mean, theoretically, everybody and their mother could be selling beer and wine in Concord Township. I mean,
Hugh, I get the sense from council that we want to be consistent. We desire to have a consistency that doesn't treat any business unfairly by limiting their hours versus a competitor. But is it correct to say that for us to, because all of these businesses were done with separate, and their sales were done through separate conditional use hearings, that we would need to conduct separate conditional use hearings to change each of these? We could not do it in a single conditional use hearing.
well, you could handle it that way, John. Or you could, as you just pointed out, each one of these applications was handled on their own set of facts, and a decision was made. So for them to come back and argue now, well, this guy has a little bit different hours than I do, I think they'd be hard-pressed. But now you have an applicant that's already been granted what they've requested, and now they want to expand their hours. And once that happens, then it would seem to me that Acme could follow suit, or anyone else could follow suit that was in the same position, and you then would be hard-pressed to turn them down.
Does anybody, maybe the thing to do would be not to do anything, but just reopen the hearing and have them provide testimony as to why it should be expanded. I'm just thinking to myself, you probably want to do it if the competition is doing it, and although the Giant is in Thornbury, Chester County, I guess, up there?
Yes, Chester County.
And maybe they have the midnight hours already, and that might be what's pushing them into this. So perhaps the thing to do would be to make a motion just to have a hearing, because we can always deny it.
Yeah,
at
but
hearing.
the other aspect of
Let
this.
them give us the testimony as to why they think they want to do this.
Let me
have a
just-
hearing.
Okay, but then aren't you, you could be putting other businesses, at a disadvantage that aren't in the food business. They may be a small purveyor that sells beer and wine or beer, or they may have a small shop a small bar. I mean, so.
Yeah, but the bars are limited, I think, as to how much they can sell you, and they were allowed to sell takeout beer prior to the supermarkets and stuff. So I don't know. I think we might be better solving this problem with someone from Wegmans here. And perhaps the easiest way to do that would be just to have another hearing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with
I
that.
agree with that, with,
If we go consistent and we do 8 a.m., so like that would give Acme an extra hour on Sundays, and then we extend it to 11 p.m. for everyone. So we're giving like Acme an extra hour. I don't think they would complain about that. So that way it's fair across the board. I don't agree with 7 a.m. I think that's too early, and since we already have 8 a.m.s as our starting, we could just do 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. across the board.
I think that's a great idea, but could we, by ordinance,
Change it.
change it for everybody?
can we, to remain consistent, keep
Well, I
it?
don't think you have to do it by ordinance, you would have a hearing.
You'd have to have all these
We have to have a
separate hearings.
conditional use hearing, and then, put it this way, if you give Wegmans expanded hours, and those are hours that are greater than the hours being practiced by Acme, and you tell Acme you're now allowed to expand your hours, you think Acme's gonna turn you down? I mean,
That's
come
what I'm
on.
saying.
They're-
Yeah, they're gonna agree.
They're gonna
But for-
agree,
They're gonna agree.
absolutely.
But procedurally, they'll come in and have a hearing, and we'll give it to them.
Yeah.
All right, so let's,
All right.
we have hearings
Yeah,
for the goofiest things around here. Let's have a hearing
We
for
keep
this.
going further into this.
Are we-
Why wouldn't we invite everybody to the conditional use hearing? And have everybody here, have Wegmans, Acme, Whole Foods, and Wawa at the conditional use
Well,
hearing?
then how about okay, John, and on all that note, I'm just gonna be your advocate playing the other role. Then why don't you invite every beer distributor in and every bar owner in and everybody else? I mean, there's a marketplace out there, and that marketplace, I mean, are these people gonna dictate hours? Are they gonna dictate the marketplace? I mean, these are things that you have to take into consideration, and what's in the best interest of the township, and not necessarily their bottom line.
Plus, I believe that each business would need to be the applicant. The business has standing to apply. We can't apply for the business. And so if Acme, we can't change Acme's hours without Acme asking us to. And then I believe we would have to have separate hearings for each of these operations, since they were all enacted separately. So we couldn't have one rolled up here. I mean, some of this is inconsistent already. Whole Foods is allowed to sell until 10 p.m., but the store closes at 9.
Well, that's why I'm saying is if we just opened it up for Wegmans, the marketplace will determine by those, in my opinion, that already have conditional uses, whether they think they need to come in to be competitive or if they're perfectly happy where they are. I also think, Amanda, if I'm not correct, there was something goofy in the Whole Foods thing that they could open earlier for beer sales if it was seasonal or something?
Yeah, there's an exception
they
for them on
requested
the
at the time?
closing side.
Yeah. So maybe the thing to do would be just have a hearing for Wegmans. Again, I'm leaning more towards what Dana said, but we'll make it 11 instead of midnight, or an 8 instead, but let them make their testimony, and then we ultimately say what it's going to be.
Yep.
And that's it. And
Yeah.
let's just have another
But
hearing on it.
in that
Yeah.
sake,
Yeah,
shouldn't,
I can agree, and one other thing, I don't buy the argument that people have a work schedule and they can't get there, they have to be open till midnight, no, you have 12 to 14 hours in which to buy something. No, I don't.
Well, the
buy
only thing
that
for
at all.
opening at 7 is if you're going to like a brunch and you need the champagne for mimosas.
I mean, I think...
Larry, you were going to say something? I'm sorry. Larry?
well, I was just on that note, and with them currently asking for 12 o'clock at night, and most of us are saying we're not comfortable with that, I guess I don't understand just per se squashing this, and then they can refile if they want 11 o'clock.
That's what.
I just think that this should just,
I think that's where we're
thrown
going
out.
with this, that we're going to say no to it now. We might consider a change, but you have to have another hearing, and we will discuss the merits of the change when we have them in the room where we can ask them questions.
Fine.
Because,
And if we decide to leave it alone at that time, we leave it alone at that time.
Because if you look at it, they actually, 10 p.m. is consistent with the other grocery stores. And in fact, they already have an additional hour to 11 p.m. on the weekends. And there's a level of, if we're not going to midnight, and to Pugh's point about public safety, do we want, I mean, even the Pennsylvania state stores aren't open after, that late, as it is. So
I think
don't
we
have
should,
any interest in
I think
changing
if
it.
someone would like to make a motion, something to the effect that at this time, we would like Wegmans to petition or apply for a conditional use to expand their hours different from those that are in Resolution 21 of 2015. We'll hear testimony and we'll make a decision at that time.
Can
What's he gonna say?
So I'm just trying to make sure we have the right information, because Lisa
Well,
and I
we're
know
gonna-
are
what we're
confused.
proposing to
We're very
do is to
confused.
tell Wegmans.
Are you allowing a hearing
No,
or not allowing a
Here's what
hearing?
we're saying. They have hours in the resolution from 2015. That's what they have to live by. They can come in and apply for another conditional use to request to amend the hours.
That's what they
We
did.
will- we
So
will-
that's why I'm confused.
They did not request a conditional use. They
That's
came,
what their lawyer is doing. They want to reopen their current conditional use decision to have a hearing to extend their hours. That's what I'm saying. They've requested it
okay, well,
formally
let's
to
get it
you.
scheduled. So do we need to
So
make a
are you
motion?
allowing a hearing or not allowing a
Yes,
hearing?
we are allowing the hearing.
You would like to have a hearing, allow Wegmans to come and reopen their conditional use decision to be heard?
And-
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to do so?
Yes, I make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I do want to mention something here. For consistency purposes, I think if we are approving 11 for one business, we should approve it for, or if somebody who has already been approved until 10 p.m. could file in an
That's right.
application.
And they will, and then
until-
we'll hear it on their
request until
merits, and we
11.
give it the thumbs up or thumbs down.
Right.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I need a drink. No. At the Wegmans.
I'll drink to that.
Dana made the motion. I think Benita or Larry seconded it? I forget. Larry
I made-
seconded.
I made the
No,
motion.
John made the motion.
Gee.
All right. God, I never thought I would spend that much time talking about alcohol.
And I vote no.
All right, here we go. Resolution number 36 of 2023. As mentioned earlier, it's Mr. Tuttle up on Cheney Road, and it's accepting the deed of dedication for the sanitary sewer facilities and easements from Thomas Tuttle for the subdivision and land development plan located at 364 and 366 Cheney Road in Concord Township. Do you have a motion to approve that resolution?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 37. Nate, do you have that up on the wall? Do we need to shut that up there?
Amanda has the plan, I believe, here.
And we're going to need 38 right behind us, so let's go. Wegmans is closing in about now.
This is the Joseph Anthony Salon site. This is the Joseph Anthony Salon site. As everybody knows, over the years, they've had a little bit of a parking crunch, very popular site here. So all this plan does is they did apply to the zoning hearing board. They got relief regarding some various zoning aspects. But one of the decisions, or one of the conditions of the zoning hearing board decision was that any parking expansion would require land development approval, hence plan here tonight. The short version is essentially the parking along the left-hand side of the plan is essentially the new parking. I believe the total increase is around 20 spaces total. 34, thank you.
Desperately needed spaces, I might add, yes, yes.
Nate, could you show a point to where the new spaces are?
I could if I was holding a pointer. I got it, here we go. Hannah's got one. Teamwork makes the dream work. If it works, that's gonna be the real test. Yep.
Well, okay. Throw it out. All right.
There we go, thanks.
So that,
Tag team,
that is presently a grass area?
correct.
What about the area in the rear of the property? What is that?
That's an existing stormwater basin.
The dotted lines, okay.
Okay.
Stormwater basin is here. This is just a grass area here, so the bulk of the new parking is in this area, then it's just kind of relay out a few of these spaces here for ADA, crossings, things of that nature.
So they're actually parking there right now on grass?
They're parking along the side, kind of blocking the drive aisles.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
Yep, and this is the cemetery on this side of the site here. The existing entrance is not being changed, pretty
When they
low
went
key.
for the zoning hearing board,
Nobody showed up,
Nobody
yeah.
showed up, okay.
We're not bothering the neighbors.
All right, whereas the preliminary land development is Resolution 37 of 2023, preliminary final land development of inland design for Joe Gagliotti, BVG Enterprises. Nate described the location. Approved subject to the following conditions: compliance with all comments contained in the Pannoni letter dated August 8th. Number 2, compliance with all comments in the fire marshal's email August 11th. 3, compliance with all comments in the committee review letter August 7th. 4, compliance with all comments in the Delaware County Planning Commission review letter June 16th. 5, compliance with all comments in the Concord Township Sewer Department memo dated May 11th. 6, compliance with the Concord Township Zoning Hearing Board decision and order dated April 21st, 2022, and those conditions are going to be attached to this as Exhibit F. Number 7, developer agrees to enter into a development and improvement security agreement prior to the release of the signed plans. Number 8, plans to be submitted in electronic format acceptable to the township engineer. 9, landscaping and lighting must be maintained per the recorded plan and replaced in kind as needed. Any substitutions are subject to the approval of the township. And lastly, an executed operation and maintenance agreement as well as a contribution to the municipal sewer, stormwater control, and BMP operation and maintenance fund is required in the amount of $7,069. Do we have a motion to approve Resolution 37 of 2023?
I so moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, next one is Carmen Linkry.
Yeah, so,
Conditions acceptable to the applicant? All good?
sorry, Joel Commanda, the design engineer, is here tonight on behalf of the applicant for both projects, actually. The second project's going to seem familiar. That's because we just recently approved it. This is actually an amended land development plan for the Carmen Lincoln dealership on 202. This is immediately adjacent to the existing Subaru dealership to the south and the existing hotel site to the north. Essentially, the terminology we use is value engineered this site. They modified some of the site conditions, some of the costs we're getting away from them, so they relayed out this site, the building, some of the stormwater management, but really functionally, nothing else is really changing. Access, parking, screening, landscaping, stormwater management, all is the same, but we did re-review some of those specific aspects. But just essentially, relaying out these two buildings here and resubmitting this plan, we're handling it as amended to land development. So the resolution in front of you tonight is substantially the same as the one you saw previously. The waivers are exactly the same. I think we maybe added one or two small tweaks just based again on this amendment of this plan.
Okay. So this will be, go ahead.
Dominic, I just had a question. Since this, I know this went before the design review committee already and we reviewed the building, but Nate was saying that the buildings are different and now do you?
The architectural elevations, my understanding, will remain unchanged. It's just the sizes. If it was 80 feet, it might be a little smaller now or something like that. Yeah, come on up.
Joel Commanda with Inland Design. Just to be completely clear, the only change to the buildings is that what was previously two separate buildings is now one large building. They're joined together. The external facades are unchanged. They've just been joined together into a single unit.
And we still have a,
And new facades were submitted, were seen by the township consultants.
we also still have, there is a condition in here that we still get to say final say before we sign the plans. So we can get
Correct.
one last look at them
Thank you.
anyway.
Correct.
Resolution 38 of 2023 is for Carmen, prepared by Inland Design, Route 202. It has got the 15 conditions and 5 waivers. First is compliance with all comments in the Pannoni Review Letter dated January 28th, last revised August 11th, 2023. Number 2, compliance with the comments in the Bradford Engineer Review Letter of February 22, last revised August 14th, 2023. Number 3, compliance with all comments in the Community Review Letter of February 2022, last revised August 16th, 2023. Number 4, compliance with all comments in the Fire Marshal's email dated February 2022, last revised August 11th, 2023, and all these are attached as exhibits. Number 5, compliance with all comments from the Delaware County Planning Department Review Letter dated March 18th, 2022. Number 6, compliance with the Concord Township Zoning Hearing Board decision of September 16th, 2021. Number 7, compliance with all comments in the Chas Ford Township Engineer Review of September 8th, 2022. Number 9, applicants shall submit color architectural elevations and colored board material for review and approval by council prior to the release of the signed plans. Approval of the elevation and materials for the building shall be obtained prior to the issuance of any building permits. All building improvements are to be constructed as per the approved architectural elevations, including screening of any rooftop mechanical equipment. Number 9, landscaping and lighting must be maintained per the recorded plan and replaced in kind as needed. Any substitutions are subject to approval by the township. 10, developer agrees to enter into a development improvement security agreement. Number 11, developer agrees to contribute $5,000 per intersection to monitor and adjust the adaptive signals for a total of $10,000 to Concord Township for 2 signals and $5,000 to Chaz Ford Township for 1 signal. Number 12, developer agrees that any future buildings or expansions will require land development and zoning hearing board approval. Number 13, plans are to be submitted in electronic format. 14, operation and maintenance agreement, as well as a contribution to the Municipal Stormwater Control Fund, $13,284, and payment of open space park recreation fee in lieu of $9,093. The waivers are from 169H to permit a joint preliminary final subdivision. 16049B to permit the removal of over 20% of the existing tree mass on the site, recommended by the township consultant in his August 4th, 2022 letter. 16049G7B to permit disturbance over 30% of the steep and very steep slopes on the site. 16050C3B1 to permit reduced screen along the State Road 202 frontage of the site. And 16050J3 to permit reduced screen along the State Road 202 frontage of the site. They must refer to 2 different screens, I'm assuming, Nate, the codes? But
Yeah, I think
You got it
there's
covered.
2 specific sections
Okay,
there. I
got
was just
it.
trying to be clear.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve resolution number 38 of 2023?
So moved.
Do we have a
Second.
second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Motion to
Aye.
adjourn?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn, Larry?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Thank you for coming out this